Hey crew, back on the bench with the Axial SCX6 Clodbuster Beastie. Wanted to show you some recent updates that I made. You may have seen the steering videos. Well, those are all done and tested, and the steering is pretty badass and works really great. I also did massive 4-link upgrade, and you might have seen that video. Here's a shot from underneath the truck. Woo! Look at that. Turns out it's been really beefy and held up really well since I've been driving it. Everything is working great. I've upgraded to 3S only. I took out the 2S LiPo, so now it's 3S 4P 5200, which ultimately ends up in being a 3S 20800 LiPo. And I'm using the 8.4 volt BECs off of each 1080 G2 to run the 5th scale servos on the full high voltage and full high torque. Today I'm gonna show you the final upgrade, which is I feel like it could have like a little bit wider stance on this outer tire. I have the tire. I'm really liking the tires fully inflated in pizza cutter mode. These are full-size RC4WD rock crushers, fully inflated. They're actually 8.6 inches tall, taller than if you had foams in them. And they crawl really good in pizza cutter because you get a ton of grip right down this center line, and there's lots of space in between those nubs. So no matter what you're in, it seems to rip really good. But it does tip over left to right a little bit easy, not terrible, but you know, you always want that not roll down the hill kind of effect. And so, what can we do? So it's on its own there, and it's about to tip there. You see it go. So I'm like, what can I do? Well, I'm running already the widest axle extension that they make. Sorry, that's just my little plastic piece down there. It's not breaking or anything. I'm already running the widest axle extensions made for 17 millimeter hex hub 8 scale wheels and axles. Those are 30 millimeter, okay, off of the knuckle, and that's it. I can't find anything wider than 30s. Probably for a reason, right? Probably starts to be really taxing on your axle and all that stuff, but we've got steel trusses in here, well above aluminum axle tubes, and HD knuckles. I think that maybe we could go out another 2 centimeters and make 50 millimeter or 55 millimeter extensions. And so I tried to make a set out of aluminum tube, and I ordered aluminum tube that would fit over the axle, 8 millimeter. And I was going to try to thread the 17 millimeter nut onto it to hold, and it did not work, because the spec on the aluminum tube that I bought, and I'll show that to you here in a moment. Pause. Okay, so we're back at the table. The spec on the aluminum tube I bought is terrible. It's supposed to be 8 millimeter bore, and I think that was 12 outer, and I was going to put 16 millimeter sleeves on it, a 2.5 millimeter hole in there for the pin for the axle right there. That's a 8 millimeter hardened steel XVD from RC4WD for the Clodbuster axle with the 2.5 millimeter hardened steel pin that goes in there. And I can't get this to fit on one of these. I've bored it with an 8 millimeter drill bit, cobalt drill bit, and it's still a terrible, terrible fit. The one I did get big enough wobbles like all get out. So I'm proud to say I was able to tap this to 1/2 inch number 20, and I can use like these 17 millimeter nuts from other kits to thread onto here to fit inside the wheel, the 40 series wheel, because this nut's actually way too big, unfortunately. But the reason I'm using that thread specifically is because I just happen to have inherited this kit from my wife's grandpa years ago. I'll show it to you because it's actually a pretty cool tap and die set with some wild big stuff that I've never had a need for, but why the hell not hold on to something as cool as this? Look at that shit, man. Hee-haw. And I mean, it's a dual tray level, so the fun just keeps on going, folks. Yeah, that's the big set down there. So I'm just using the small set up here. And again, it's really old. I don't even know. It's the Little Giant. You tell me. I'm super grateful to have inherited it. I've held on to it like it was gold over for it. So cool. All right, so the aluminum doesn't work, but I thought steel might. So I bought this tube. It's a 250 millimeter. It is steel tube, 8 millimeter bore, 12 millimeter outer. So you got a 2 millimeter wall there. Unfortunately, yeah, 8 millimeter bore. No, sorry, Bob. I can't fit an 8 millimeter drill bit in there. I could not fit 8 millimeter hardened steel XVDs inside there. So I got nutty and I started boring with that 8 millimeter cobalt drill bit. Lovely set here that I got on Amazon. And lo and behold, I did get this to fit nicely inside the steel. I'm not sure if it's this side that fit. Yeah. So I got this side to fit really nice. It's super snug. There's zero play. It's smooth. It's in. It's out. It's exactly what we need. Okay. So now that I know I can bore and get it to fit, I started tapping with the big bad boy, steel. This was not easy to tap. It wore my arms out for sure. I tapped it all the way down to where you see the tip of my thumb. I put on the big zinc bolt. And then, I'm not sure. I don't really probably need this, but I thought I would. Sorry, that's kind of not the best hole drill, but this one worked out better. I kind of thought then I would run the 17 millimeter into this one tight, but then I Loctite redded it, and I put the big 8.5 inch wheel on there and tried to turn it, and I was able to turn it like kind of way too easy, and I thought, well, geez, under the torque of the motors, that's not going to work. So I 2.5 millimeter pinned this. Thank goodness I got 0.5 millimeter drill bit sizes there. And so now you can see I'm going to pin it just like it pins at the back. You'll just have to trust me that steel pin does fit in there. And so that's going to work, right? And so now the job is to cut this in half at 125. I will then tap either side of the half and do the same to each. I'll then have 4 good sides of tapped and nuts and bolts for fitting the wheel onto. And then I will bore out the open hole sides so that we can again fit the hardened steel XVD in each. We'll put a 2.5 millimeter hole in for holding it on this end. And then I will have full 250 divided by 4, so approximately 62.5 millimeter steel 17 millimeter hex hub axle extensions for the Clodbuster XVDs. And I think that, I'm going to go, I'll probably, be threading on at least another 20 millimeters. So they're 30 now, maybe another 20, 25. Maybe it'll even come out to close to another 30 per side, which is like an inch and then some. 1.15 inches per side. And I think one of these tires came out 1 inches or about 1.1 inches. I feel like then I'd be, just sticking out fully past the edge walls here. And boy, is that gonna add a lot of stability left to right. I'm a little worried that we're gonna run into hanging up down here, even more so than we do already, but we do have these zinc steel alloy, skid plates that really protect the axles and the steering shafts well. And we've got these massive 16 millimeter lower links, which just are bulletproof for this truck, and 8 millimeter heim joints. So, I think we're going to try it. I wanted to make for sure that we could go back to the 30 millimeters and not do anything super permanent. So, I believe that's the ticket. I weighed it with all the extra bolts and zinc fasteners on this end as well. On all 4 of them, you pick up, you go from 2 ounces from the aluminum kit 30 millimeter extensions to 9. These are 2 ounces, a little less than 2 ounces, the whole set. And this whole set is going to be 9 ounces, so we're going to pick up a ½ pound down at the axle height, which is, you know, I think that's okay. I'd rather have all that weight up front, but some in the back, some in the front. Weight lower down, as well as a wider footprint. Hopefully make our baby sing even better. Oh yeah, we'll debut this someday for you all. I don't like to show it off much, but carbon fiber. Cool, huh? All right. 1,000 ponies, baby. Fully built. All right, ciao. Hope you enjoyed. Special surprise there at the end, eh? You didn't know that was coming, did you? Well, if you stayed to the end. Woo-wee. All right, fine. You gotta see the Yokohama Advans too, don't you? Oh, 335s. Oh, that's some grip. Ciao.